Hello, my name is Arielle Ford, and I'm one of the founding partners of Spiritual Cinema Circle. Today, my very special guest is Mark Victor Hansen, who has influenced society's top leaders and the general public on a global scale for the past 30 years. His credentials include a lifetime of entrepreneurial and publishing successes. He's the co-creator of the wildly successful Chicken Soup for the Soul series, which boasts 145 titles, 100 million copies sold, and can be found in 41 languages. He's also the co-author of The 1 Minute Millionaire, The Enlightened Way to Wealth, and its sequel, Cracking the Millionaire Code. Considered America's leading expert on human potential, Mark is also a passionate philanthropist and humanitarian who works tirelessly for organizations such as Habitat for Humanity, American Red Cross, March of Dimes, and Child Help USA, as well as his own foundation, which is dedicated to literacy as a means to ending poverty. He firmly believes that giving back is paramount to his own happiness and success. He's also the recipient of the prestigious Horatio Alger Award. Hi, Mark. It is really great to see you.
It's all my pleasure.
Oh, well, thanks. You and your Chicken Soup collaborator, Jack Canfield, have had a long and amazingly successful collaboration. For those of us who believe in reincarnation, do you think you guys were destined to work together?
First of all, I love working with Jack, both past and present. Jack's got one of the more profound minds in the world. When we started Chicken Soup for the Soul series, we went, after we'd written it and after we had 144 rejections, we had a little publisher take us, and Jack said, we got to go see this psychic named Dr. Ron Scholastico. Do you know Ron?
I have met him.
I mean, Ron's got pictures as big as that wall. He's also a phenomenal, great, fine artist. We go see him, and he says, okay, boys, we're going to deep breathe. We're going in my meditation room. And I go, okay, but he says, right before you shut your eyes and I take you on this trip where you guys have been before, I need to tell you, we'll do 15 minutes of your past life reincarnation before I tell you where you're going to go. And I go, God, we're paying this guy $180 each for a half hour or hour. And I go, yikes, because we've already blown 140 grand. Our respective wives are a little flipped. And he said, so he starts out saying, you guys were monks together. And I got goosebumps. I thought, wow. Then you guys were in France together. And I go, wow. And you guys were together again during the Renaissance. I go, wow. And they said, you're in Egypt. Now, right after that, we're with the Hop, Carolyn Mises, best female doctor student who's a medical clairvoyant. And there's no way she could know that I just got done reading 6 books on Alexander and Alexander the Great and the city of Alexandria. And she says, she's sitting with Jack and I and says, you know, you guys were in Alexandria before, and not only did you work together, but Mark was head of all the libraries. And I thought, way cool. I thought, this is like beyond, so I like this. This is like nice, I like that. And Jack's the one who gave you the poison hemlock that time.
Oh, no.
So, and I got goosebumps about that. So every psychic we've been to is saying, you know, the same thing. Now, Jack and I both believe in reincarnation. And we believe that, you know, pretty much it's probably, I'll limit it. My belief is that I understand it only on this plane of existence, meaning in the human life form. I don't understand going involuting or evoluting other than that. You know, do I think consciousness evolutes? The answer is yes. Do I think the human body evolutes? I don't know. Although we're in a pretty nice incarnation this time. And because I believe I chose to be in here, I believe that as I look around, there's maximum contrast, and I believe that I am one of the visionary leaders that leads out of it, and I think that Jack and I were meant to do that together.
Would you mind telling me one of your all-time favorite Chicken Soup for the Soul stories?
Well, the way Chicken Soup started is that I was teaching Jack how to do these stories. We'd befriended each other down at the Mandala Spiritual Conference and Health Conference, and I taught him that you got to conclude your talks with a heart-touching, soul-penetrating, God bump goosebumps, chilly bumps story. Like when I talk to 10,000 Marines, I say, we don't cry, but you made our eyeballs sweaty. So, and the story that really got us started was a story we put in a book in a book called Bopsy, and I met the little lady who started the Make-A-Wish Foundation in York, Pennsylvania, and she leveled the audience with her true story, and it had wonder. And she had a son, 7 years old, named Bopsy, who was dying of terminal leukemia, and she has a presence of mind to say, boy, if you could have one wish, and know they'd come true, what would you want? I said, Mom, if I could have anything, I'd want to be a fireman. She goes to fire chief in Phoenix, Arizona, and says, look, my boy's only got a little time left on the planet. They think maybe 3 days. He'd like to be a fireman. Is there anything he can do? Fire chief had a heart as big as America and said, you have him ready at 7 o'clock. We're going to pick him up in the hook and ladder. And if you know all of his measurements, we make the yellow slickers here. We'll get him a little badge that says honorary fire chief for a day. We'll get him a helmet and galoshes. And he got to go out on 3 4-alarm fires, which is really exciting. I got to do the same thing, so I understand how we're talking about 380,000 pounds going at full blast, 60 miles an hour through red lights, and you know if you hit anything, it's going to kill them or somebody's going to get hurt. And so it's death-defying, and I got to put on this stuff, and you know these guys pulled on 30 seconds. It took me 3 minutes. I was not dressed by the time we got to the fire. It was very interesting. But this kid gets to go on it, and it inspires him to live 3 months longer than any health professional said he could possibly live, because it gave him a new resolve. And he was writing about it and doing poetry and being thankful about it. But the head nurse believed in hospice, which says nobody should die alone. Somebody that loves you ought to hold your hand on the way out. She sees his vital signs start to go and said, Bops, is there anything else you want? Said, one thing, if I could see the fire chief one more time. It really mean a lot to me. She goes and calls the fire chief and said, Bops is on his last legs. Maybe he's got 5 minutes. If you can do anything to come and see him and say goodbye again, it'd mean a lot to him. Fire chief said, you tell him to hold on. We'll be there in the fire truck in less than 3 minutes. But this time you need to open up the 3rd story window, because this time we're coming in by hook and ladder and in full costume. And 14 firemen and 2 firewomen went in, and they hugged him, they kissed him, they cuddled him, they cajoled him as fast as they could. With his dying breath, he looks up and says, am I now really a fireman? They said, Bops, you are. And he died peacefully. It's a great story because it shows all of us have some wishes, and that one little wish started Make-A-Wish, which I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to make a wish, fulfill other people's wishes. I'm in Denver at the Mile High Church, our buddy Dr. Fred Vogt. I've flown all night long on a red eye special. Fred is one of the funniest guys on the planet. I've talked there a lot. The day before, my friend John Denver got married and said to everybody in his wedding party, go to hear my buddy Mark tomorrow, and that was very nice. I'm arriving in a limo outside, and Dr. Vogt's out there with a woman that is a young girl that's wearing an orange head wrap, and I go, oh my God, she must have cancer. And I don't know what I'm going to do, because my emotions are already a little tilted because I haven't had slept on the plane, and I'm going straight to talk at his church services and then the afternoon. And Fred says, this is Amy Graham, and is her parents? She's dying, and she'll be getting 3 days, and her dying wish is to see you. And I go, oh God. I thought you want to go see Mr. T, or at that time, you want to go see Arnold, Terminator or something. But I hadn't had anyone ever want to come see Mark Victor Hansen. It's a little bit more than anything I'd experienced, and now my emotions are gone. So I hugged her and I said, look, well, we got a seminar this afternoon. I'm doing the 3 services with Dr. Fred, and you're obviously our guest. I'm sure Dr. Vogt wants you and your mommy and daddy to come. Well, during the service, because I hang out with the healers. As a matter of fact, we're making a documentary on healing right now. We got 5,000 people in the audience, and I say, okay, everybody, this is Amy. She's only got 3 days left on the planet. They say, but let's send her out and let's turn on all her healing lights before we go. So everybody, rub up, and let's have you feel a ball of healing energy. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to stand behind her, and I'm going to be the mirror and the vector, and we'll send it concave and convex and all that good physics, but send up all the energy you got. Everybody stand up and now zap her with all the energy you got. Well, I'm going to make a long story very, very short. It's now 13 years later. She's still alive. She's happily married. She lives in San Diego Bayou. She's got 3 kids. And she goes around as a laying on hands healer, and uses and has had pictures taken and sent them to me with the corona arcs that come out of her hands. So she saw that technology, that is age-old technology, that for somehow, obviously the time of Jesus, they used it because they always did laying on of hands, but it sort of got lost, and then I'm saying it sort of got found. I mean, I can tell you the people like Dr. Olga Worrell and Dr. Leonard Lasko, and I can take you through the documentation of who's taught it to me and how you can master it, and how with Kirlian photography, which takes pictures of your external metabolics, whether it's what you call your hand chakra, your hand energy, your hand chi, or whether it's, your heart or root or crown. Is it all that stuff turned on or lights? Because out of 5,000 people, there are a lot of people that are really healers that didn't know they're healers, that they unzipped their heart energy and just zapped this little kid. I mean, she's whatever she was, 13 maybe. And, now she's just doing great and as a mommy and everything else.
That's an incredible story. I want to segue a little bit right here because I know you have a real passion for green technologies. Can you sort of give us maybe the short version of what you're working on and investing in green technology?
Well, back when I worked with Dr. Fuller, he said, look, we got to get off the petrochemical self-starter engine. First of all, we ought to be charging $100 million a gallon because it took us 100 million years to create this stuff. It didn't get created overnight, and we can't recreate it, and we're throwing all these hydrocarbons in a very precious, very fragile ecology. And if you're going to do that, then you're in danger. So we've got to sequester the hydrocarbons. We got to stop using hydrocarbons. So we got to go onto other fuel, and we ought to be doing wind and geothermal and tidal. And at the time, the technology hadn't evolved. I'm close friends with Weiland. His top selling artist is a guy named John Petrie. John Petrie is everything. He's an inventor. If you go on an airline magazine, there's a bicycle contraption. It sells for 14,000. He sold 100 million of those. He invented that, and he is the Leonardo da Vinci of our time, which is what Bucky loved Leonardo, but couldn't manifest his own stuff to do it. John Petrie has created now, we've got 101 patents. The company is called Natural Power Concepts, NPC. I've just got done showing it to T. Boone Pickens, and T. Boone Pickens, came to my room when I was in Washington and went, holy cow, you got it, because we got spherical windmills. Now, we're a licensing company. We are not, and I'm a major investor in this and a marketer of it, but we got windmills that are spherical that have magnets on the outside that make it 40 times more powerful. We can take all the oil platforms, which cost $100 million to break down or knock over. I mean, because these are serious things that go thousands of feet into the ground because we're sucking oil from, 8,000 feet deep now. That's the trouble, is we got oil, but it's really deep, it's really expensive, it's really dangerous, it really screws up the mantle. But we take those same platforms, and now Petrie has made it so we can have energy pulsation. It just goes up and down, because the tides are never going to stop. And we also have, just like the windmills, we can put them on all the hydroelectric plants, and we're talking to all of them right now. We've got giant contracts coming through at that level. We're licensing to a lot of the best companies in America, whether it's General Electric or Siemens in Germany or Samsung in Korea. So we're doing some stuff that no one's ever done before, and we will switch the way energy is done, I predict, in the next 4 or 5 years, because everybody that's conscious is going to say, hey, look, I can have a little 4-foot in diameter windmill on my house and have free energy. And then Petrie's come up with 4 kinds of brand new batteries that change the whole battery world. And then, so let's switch to the other thing I invested in. The company's called VP Clean Tech. It's run by the guy who funded AOL and the guy who funded Google at 15,000 to 1 and all that. And his wife is my agent, and you know her very well. And we got a company called Better Place. It's invented an electric car, and we went to General Motors. We went to Ford. Bill Ford said, God, this is the greatest thing, but I'm doing hybrids. We said, wait a second, do you not get it? Hybrids are 3 generations go on. You're missing the program. I mean, this is why Detroit and Chrysler, the guys, do I want them to go bankrupt? No. Do I think that they've been silly in their decisions and profoundly antediluvian? Yeah. And a lot of people getting hurt? Yeah. Am I sorry that the people are getting hurt? Well, the people should have learned some principles and learned some stuff that they obviously weren't paying attention to. So I'm sorry about that, but Nissan and Renault and Tesla decide to do these cars, and all of Israel in 5 years, because they only sell fleet cars, the whole country is going to be electric. We're doing the electric grid, we're doing the electric cars. My parents' home country of Denmark, and I'm a proud Danish American, mommy and dad are both born there, is exclusively this, electric cars. And the whole chain of Hawaiian Islands, Governor Lingle has said we're going to go totally to electric cars in 5 years. Arnold, right now, our governor is trying to do it, and Meg Whitman, who I think will be the next governor, has said, we got to do this. There's no choice. So what I'm saying is enlightened people are now saying, hey, look, we got to go to electric cars. We got to stop polluting. We've got to start, using what God gave us is awareness. The only shortage is never money. The shortage is never food, resources, land, people. It is awareness, and what happens is we got to go to higher level awareness, get out of vested awareness that benefits the few, and do what Locke's law was: is the greatest good for the greatest number. And we now concurrently have almost 7 billion people, and we can take care of all of us at a higher standard of living than ever if we start doing simple stuff like alternative energy and electric cars, and being Bucky would say, omni-considerate, all considerate of what to do.
So do you really think that at some point, maybe in our lifetime, we'll get to the point where we live in a world that works for everyone?
That's a great question. I think so. By the way, the world works for more people now than it ever has historically. It has never been better. And it's never going to it's getting better at a quantum level on a daily and weekly basis. And the reason it's getting better is that we never had computers before 40 years ago, laptops before 20 years ago, cell phones before 5 years ago, Twitter before 2 years ago. And now you suddenly say, you and I are friends with Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the guy who's taken 100 million women out of poverty in the poorest country in the world. And he's my hero and friend, and I love him, and I'll be with him again in a couple of days. And he's taken a cell phone and rents to these women, and in 2 months they go from below poverty at Grameen phone to above poverty. And what happens is the cell phone, the computer I thought was going to be it, Bucky called it education automation because he couldn't see that the computer was going to go in the phone. Videos are going to go in the phone. It's called mobisodes, webisodes, TV minisodes, and now flash video. And I can take you through 20 different iterations that I think is the book of tomorrow. But suddenly you got the G4 phone, which is the iPhone on steroids that's just coming out by the Edison of our time, my hero, Steve Jobs. And everyone ought to pray for him because he's got pancreatic cancer, and he deserves it. He looks great when I was just with him, and he's such a good man, and he's really trying to do these profound things. And so what our friend Dr. Gay Hendricks says is we got to wake up everybody's genius because we don't need just a few of our individual geniuses. For the first time, the planet is in deep doo-doo. We got to have the combined global corpus genius, what our friend Teilhard de Chardin, Dr. Chardin talked about as the new sphere, the thinking sphere, the real internet. So we never had the internet before now. So back to where I was on the phone, computers are 1.5 billion, telephones are 4.5 billion. In the next 2 years, they're going to be at 7 billion, which is equivalently. It won't mean everyone has a phone, but it means the guy in Uganda, the guy in Bangladesh, the guy in Bali, or lady, are going to have phones, and for the first time, they're going to have information. So my little foundation is said, well, what do I do to be causal? Because there's cause, effect, total result, and it always triangulates. Most people just think the cause and effect, but it triangulates, and that's why you said, could we get 100% of humanity enrolled? That's the 100th monkey theory, and we're almost there. And the way that it works is that my little foundation is taking the cell phone, and we're saying, let's get a GED. And a GED, a graduate equivalent degree, so if a little girl 14 gets pregnant and can't go to school now, she can go online, and we're just finishing this process. She can take her study on GED. It costs almost nothing. And then if she's working at McDonald's, she goes up $1 extra an hour just for graduating high school. That's $40 a week times 50 weeks a year. That's $2,000. That's serious loot. Now, I'm in Asia. I'm there 4 times a year at least. I'll be there twice yet more this year. And I was just there. And they say, well, what we want to do is we want to get a GED for everybody in China. And I go, holy schmoly. Because the minute they get a GED, now they can come to any one of our electronic universities, get to graduate here, get the education they want. And there's only 4 schools in China. There's almost no schools in Thailand, even though we have an American king there, who I totally love and like and respect and admire, who came from Milwaukee like Goldie Mayer did. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
And he makes all of us wear yellow on Friday. It's a really trippy thing if you're not wearing yellow, you get to go to jail. So I'm wearing yellow. Some people don't look good in yellow, but I look good in pale yellow. Okay, so the point is, for the first time ever, we recognize there's one humanity. We've got Bucky's map. I showed one world island enveloped by one world ocean. And for the first time ever, we found out that, hey, yo-yo, we can't go killing other people because you're going to shoot back at us because overkill is so high. So we either war is obsolete or we are.
Fantastic. Will you leave us with one last chicken soup story?
So this mother is washing dishes, and little 40-year-old Johnny comes in and says, Mr. Jones next door is crying. What's wrong, Mommy? Said he's 88 years old and his wife just died and he feels really sad. Kid runs out the kitchen door, around the hedge, up the stairs, jumps in this guy's lap in a rocker. Mommy keeps looking out the shade for 3 hours. Finally, little Johnny comes back and says, boy, whatever did you talk to him about for 3 hours? Said, nothing, Mommy. I just helped him cry.
Aww.
chicken soup stories, we all need them. We all got them. Now, we put together 202 best-selling books. Now, a lot of people say, well, you can't have that many books. Well, we do, because we're #1 in Singapore for the last 2 years with Chicken Soup for the Singaporean Soul. We're #1 every year with Chicken Soup for the Hawaiian Soul. Now, it doesn't show up in an American bestseller list because the people in New York don't believe there's the Sandwich Islands they think still exist out there. So there's a lot of people that don't like us because we sell more books than anyone. We sold 157 million books. And Maya Angelou, who I totally love and adore, and we've got her in a lot of our books, and we think Dr. Angelou is one of the, we were on videotape with her when we were together with you with the Hay. She said, you guys are hogging the list. She was joking, and she's a dear, colleague and Horatio Algier Award winner, and just perfect, and just one of the more, for a lady, I know this is sort of chicken soup, to come from hooking and being a madam to being the one that influences Oprah Winfrey the most to go from nowhere to somewhere great, that is a chicken soup story.
Amazing. Well, Mark, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. It's always fun to be with you.
Ariel, it's always been my joy, and I hope we get to continue. I hope you guys will let me pretend I'm illuminated again in the future.